YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We're gonna open this box right here. It's all new. It's all new. Fantastic. And I have no idea what it is until I open it. It's gonna be amazing. You guys may know from the thumbnail, but this is an early product sample. So that means we're never really sure exactly what we're going to get. Could be amazing, could be a white box. We'll find out. So guys, here on Brian Phillips RC, we always do unbox build radio setups, and that is gonna be what we do today. But since this is a plug and fly, oh, it's a bind and fly.
You don't know what it is yet.
Oh, okay.
It's a surprise.
I don't know, could be a toilet plunger.
What's a...
Kind of guessing it's not that. World's fastest toilet plunger.
Well.
Oh boy, it's upside down. Hold on, let me get it into... Oh wait, no, it's not upside down. It's the ElectroStreak, but the picture's upside down. It's the back of the box. Sorry guys. Hold on, we'll try again. Oh, would you look at that? It's the ElectroStreak. ElectroStreak 1.1. Oh yeah, booyah. Okay, so this is basically a super fast plane, but it's also a sailplane, it looks like. And you know what it reminds me of? It looks a lot like the Crescendo, but it's not the Crescendo. So I have to figure out what it is. So super excited for this. It's
Gary.
It's Gary.
Yeah.
There he is. Look at that guy right there. Beautiful. So this is supposed to be extremely fast. What does it fly on? Whoa, there it is. Stable, slow flight plus top speeds up to 130 plus miles an hour, which is crazy. Now, some of you may have remembered flying or currently fly the V700 or the V900, both of which are just crazy experiences. The V700 is
V900 or
V900
or
and V1200. Sorry, I mixed that up.
Too many numbers today.
Yeah, too many numbers. But I'll tell you what, those planes were crazy, but they did one thing, and that was very, 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 very fast. And I feel like they didn't do much else. So this plane is hopefully going to give us a little bit more. Looks like might be Gary in the shadows here again. Okay, so this one's the bind and fly basic. It is an experience level 2. So you're supposed to be able to fly this as maybe, you know, like second or third plane. You want to have a little bit of experience. There are ventral fins on that tail. That's really cool. Okay, we're just going to open it and we're going to show you what it is. By the way, on Brian Phillips RC, we're big on full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, and getting you out of the chair and into the air. So part of our mission statement, our current kind of goals and objectives on this channel are to teach you exactly how to fly. And when I say fly, I don't mean necessarily move the sticks on your transmitter, but what it takes to get your transmitter, get it ordered, and get your plane, get it ordered, and when it shows up, open the box and quite literally do step by step until it's done. That's what we've been doing for years, and we hope that we will help you for a few years before you get good enough that you don't need our help, and then you just kind of move on. But the truth is, we've been helping people for about 9 years plus now. We've got thousands of video over at brianphillipsrc.com, which you can also go to bprc.me. That's our short link to our same website there. And you can find exactly what you're looking for. And hopefully, if it's not this, you can find it right now. But without further ado, brand new product. Super excited to be opening this for you right now. Thanks for choosing Horizon Hobby. Looks like we got a piece of Velcro. Extension cable, and a bind plug. A couple of screws, looks like 3 screws. This should be a super low piece count setup, so really excited. Sometimes our early samples, because they have been sampled by the test pilots at Horizon, we will see a little bit of a mar or a scratch or a scrape or maybe a little grass. And sometimes they have installed a singular component or two. In our case, that feels stout. Look at this. It looks thin, and you're probably thinking that is razor thin, but it's really, it's not. Feel it. Look at that.
It's got a lot of reinforcement.
Like guys, look at
on the
this.
bottom.
Look how white my finger is. As I press on it, I'm pulling hard on this thing, and it barely moves. That is crazy. And look, the decals reinforce the whole hinge.
Oh yeah, I see that.
That is awesome, guys. Now that does look like a pinch hinge, but it's reinforced, okay? Historically, pinch hinges would not be ideal. And then look at the nut zert that's part of this plastic. That's underneath the plastic, which is the sticker, and it is on there good. Look how nice that is, guys. It's a tight, clean edge. If this thing goes 130 miles an hour, I don't want decals popping, okay? And this feels like it's really stout. So, and also fairly heavy for being a horizontal stabilizer on a very, you know, small plane. For all intents and purposes, 1.1 meters, not huge. Okay, so pulling this out of the box. Oh yeah, feel the weight. Like that's crazy. It's almost like a soft, like a warm liner, they call them. Huh. And this thing has guards right here made of foam, but it's like thick. It's like heavier, stronger foam. It feels dense.
That's weird.
It's like something we haven't seen before. So really excited to be part of this here, guys. Look at this. We've got like this ventral fin. What do they call those things? Dang it, they're called fences.
Wing fence.
Wing fence.
Right.
So we have wing fence, and then look at that little tiny kick on the end of it. That's not damaged. That's the way it's designed. And guys, what a beautiful, beautiful livery. I'm really liking this. It's tight. It's really held in there. The plastic is taped down, so it holds everything together. Obviously, this is a one-piece design. And look, we've got just a super, super small dihedral, do we? I can't
a little bit,
tell.
it looks like it.
Are you sure it's dihedral, or is it just in my head? Yeah, it's got maybe a 1 or 2 degrees there, because you can see it does definitely dip down in the center, but just barely. So that'll help with stability. But I'm really curious about these wing fences. It's so unusual. Oh, and you may be seeing 2 wires that come out. So that's always good. So there's optional flapper-on configuration on the AS3X Plus. This plane is equipped with AS3X Plus. That's one thing we know now. Okay, so inside the box. By the way, packaging is great. Doesn't seem like there's really any issues there. That's not uncommon for an E-flite product. It's almost always that way. But I do like the way that this fits in here. I'm a little bit bummed. I thought it'd be a folding prop. That is not a folding prop. Kind of unusual for such a beast. Man, that feels substantial for being a foamy.
But is it a glider or is it not?
This is the sailplane, no matter what anybody else says. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Watch this. Look how hard I'm twisting that. That is nothing like, the Concendo is really sturdy too, but not like this. I mean, the current Concendo Evo. We've had 3 Concendos. We had the original Concendo, which was like rubbery, and it was awesome because you could like miss a hand catch and it would just like flop on the ground like a, you know, some sort of a limp noodle. But then it went to the Advance, which had a little bit higher density, but it was stiffer, and so it did better in high speeds because it went up to 3S from 2S. And then it would kind of maybe not break if you missed a hand catch. But then we went to the Evo, which had even more density, more strength, but it was so dense that you could break off that whole tail section. I can tell you right now, look how strong this is, guys. Look at this. Show my fingers. Like, it's hard to demonstrate that on camera. You see what I'm doing? I'm strong. I can break this in half if I really tried. But I'm gonna just tell you right now, it's got a lot of strength laterally on there, and that's what you want on a sailplane. You want a stiff frame. And it's weird because there's like a reinforcement rib built into it. It's just, it's not something we've seen before. And look how perfect the match is.
Yeah.
Guys, that's something we're not seeing for most manufacturers, is this perfect match. We do, I mean, we see it from competitive manufacturers, but it's only on like the highest dollar stuff where basically it's painted once it's assembled. This is plastic, and I do not think it's painted in place. It might be, but I don't think it is. And beautiful, I really like this canopy. It's actually not black, it's clear. This turns, twists, and then pops up, okay? So if you look right here, yeah, see?
Oh, it's blue.
Yeah. Okay, so basically the canopy has kind of got like a clear finish on it. It's clear, but then it's got this roughed up, sort of like sanded finish. So it looks really nice, like a matte finish, okay? But it's actually clear, it shines through. That's so strange. We haven't seen that before, interesting. All right, so avian light, 45 amp, brushless, 3 or 4S LiPo compatible. It's got the IC3. and there is a strap. Let's see, this is sturdy. Like, feel this. This is gonna look exactly the same as other planes on camera.
Wow.
But look how stout that is.
So thick.
I can
like...
barely crush it. Guys, this is crazy. We've not seen this before, and we do a lot of planes. I mean, just look at our living room. This is just a living room. You guys should see our storage units. You should see our basement. It's terrible, but it's a terrible, wonderful problem to have. But that is strong, okay? So density is there. Now, I can also say this thing is heavy for how small it is. It's unexpectedly feels like it's got some weight to it. Also, this is where you're gonna see a little bit of wear and tear from the product sampling, okay? So you see that little edge damage there? I don't know if it just dragged on the landing or what the deal is, but I'm gonna actually take my finger and just rub that. I should take a sanding block and knock that nasty edge off. But everything feels good. The motor is like hidden, you can't see it at all. And what is this size on this? I cannot tell. Looks like maybe 103 by 203.
Oh yeah, I see it in there.
I can't see. Oh, it's 8E. Ooh. Suppose I can get the angle. Can you see the angle inside of that under the spinner? Suppose you can see it?
I cannot. Ooh,
so it
might be an 8 by 8.
8 by 8.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. That 8, of course, speaks to the length, and then 8 is going to speak to the pitch, okay? So very cool, very interesting. We've got definitely huge vents here, and those vents are going to work in tandem with this mouth vent. And I do see a little bit of wear and tear on that paint finish there. So this is like a flat white color underneath. Okay, yours will not be pre-scratched, ours will be. Okay, and then look at that substantial rod, guys.
Wow.
Grab me a rod, please.
That is really
thick. Thank you for doing that without begging. Okay, wonderful. Oh, it's not a ventral fin. It's just a vertical fin that went down. I saw this on the box. I thought it was a ventral fin. Looks like they might have just a little bit of a drag mark here. It's kind of hard to tell, but you guys can't feel what I'm trying to explain. This is like hard plastic.
This part too, all of it?
Feel it. It's like you guys won't get it until when you get it, you'll get it, okay?
Yeah.
Because let's just show them this corner here. Walk to the corner. I'm just gonna grab a recent vintage model, okay? So this is a really high quality, it's another E-flite product. Like, should I sacrifice it? Look, watch. When I squish this, it squishes, okay? That's normal foam. Check this foam out. This is crazy, guys. It's hard to explain on camera without destroying something to show you. This thing is hard. It's like the density is nuts. Look at this. See my finger? It's white. I'm a strong guy, I can break this, but I'm pushing hard and it's not deflecting. I'm super excited for that because if we can get to that point on foam planes, oh man, they're gonna be more like fiberglass planes. So it's bigger than just this plane is what I'm getting at. So if you guys see excitement in my brain, it's not because of this plane necessarily, but it's because of the foam type, which is just stupid. I'm such a nerd. Okay, so as you can see, we're empty on the box. How many pieces do we have here, camera crew?
1, 2, 3, 4. And you have the canopy, that's kind of a canopy.
Yeah. So it's,
and it looks like we've got 3 assembly screws. 1, 2,
So this is supposed to be a super short assembly, and as usual in true Brian Phillips fashion, I have made a short video into a long video because that's what we do best here on Brian Phillips RC. If you want to help support Brian Phillips RC, check out the links in the video description below. When you buy from the links, we get commissions from the manufacturers we work with, and that's really nice. Now, the cool thing about that is you're probably thinking, yeah, you just told me how awesome the foam was. Yeah, and I told you all the nice things about all those products that are competitive as well.
Right.
Okay? We don't really care which one you want. We just want you to know what's available, and this is available. And so you're gonna wanna get it. I can tell right now, it's gonna hold its own. Look at this, that is, being able to twist this like that or not is crazy. Okay, super excited. We love it when we squeeze these new technology moves out of these manufacturers. So we're super happy that we're doing it again. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's stick this thing together. Let's see how hard it is. We got a ball link here made of brass, it looks like. Okay, I'm gonna slide this in, and I believe it's gonna snap, and then there's a bolt. Whoops, or does it? Does it slide in? Okay. You guys are probably thinking to yourself, just read the manual. Well, we don't technically have one yet, do we?
We do not.
which is fine. Like that's part of it for us. We're used to it by now. This is supposed to slide in here. It's like it will go, but I'm not 100% certain there's not a rail it's supposed to stick into. You see how it's kind of a little bit fatter at the end there? Mm-hmm. I'm having trouble trying to see if that fits. You guys see what I'm seeing right here? It looks like it's got a little bit of like a key shape to it on this and on like this right there. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's supposed to slide in, but it's wanting to kind of pop up as I go. I'm gonna try again a couple of times. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if you're supposed to like snap it in weird. Oh, you press down as you're going. Press down as you're going. You guys see what I did? I held my middle finger here and I pressed up against this with the elevator pulled, and that allowed me to slide it into the pocket, okay? So I'll do it again. So slide it out. Watch from this angle this time. I'm gonna press hard and I'm just gonna walk it in, okay? You guys see what I'm doing? I'm pressing hard up against my belly. Oh yeah, it's there. It kind of wants to walk up though. I don't like that part. And then let's just assume we can snap this on. Okay, it's a bind and fly. I'm gonna give this a little half turn just so it's square. Yeah. See, it's not wanting to spin. If you get one of those situations, you'll have to grab a tool. Okay, so the tool I'm gonna grab is gonna be a regular pair of needle nose pliers. Yes, I have balling pliers too, but I'm not gonna use a balling plier for this. I want you guys to see that you can do a regular tool. Okay, so grab it outside of this slide, grab it hard, hold it, and then this will be allowed to twist. You see how it's allowed to twist just a little bit? Then that'll let you snap on. You do not need balling pliers to do this. Balling pliers make it easier, okay? So once it's on, I want to show you that you can do it without. It's just a pain to do it without. Okay, should I just use balling pliers? Nope, got it. I wanted to show that it could be done without. Now, also, you're probably thinking, but you didn't put the screw in yet. That's right. I want to show you that that snap mechanism is going to leave us vulnerable. You need to be careful about that, people. And you see that V? That V, it's like it doesn't quite want to go in there. So I'm not sure if maybe this one's just like worn out from being, see it snapped in that time? It's supposed to be down like that. I hope that doesn't pop on us while we're flying.
Hopefully once we screw it in,
it's gonna hold it down.
Yeah.
But then there's a nutsert there. I guess the big thing is I want you to understand there's a contour on the bottom and you kind of have to slide it into the contour. And if you don't, it just goes over the top of it, okay? You have to press it in, okay? All right, so screws. What do we need for tools here? It looks like we've got 3 screws, not sure which one's which. And then we have this. Sorry, what are you grabbing for?
I thought it was gonna go under.
Okay, bind plug. We don't technically need the bind plug because we'll use the bind button, but they do provide one, which is nice. Looks like 2 of the screws here, and of course, total ambiguity. I'm not sure which one's which. Let's just do this, guys. Now yours will come with a manual. Let's just see what ours looks like here. 1, 2, just from past experience. Okay. So that's going in there. And then I'm pushing my finger down to make sure that as I tighten that, it doesn't hit. And then also I just want to point out something. There's your AS3X Plus AR631 Plus, okay? You can see it? And then there's the bind button, okay? The bind button will be accessible from the top. Now, a lot of times I press the button from the outside when the wing is not mounted. But sometimes I try to make like an access hole. The problem is there's plastic right here. So I can't easily do that. This decal makes it look like there might be a seam, but it's actually just the way the decal sticks on. And so I can't just reach through with a screwdriver and hit that button, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and plug these on, and look, they've got long cables on here. So that'll make it easy to plug in. Might be kind of a pain to actually get the wires through though. Now, through a process of elimination, I believe this is the way that's gonna go, okay? Does this drop down there or does it drop in this way? Looks like it drops in this way. Yep, there's some marks on the plastic. Okay, let's see if that goes. Hun, I'm gonna grab a number 2 Phillips screwdriver.
Yes, probably.
And so if you guys aren't familiar with what a number 2 Phillips screwdriver is, it'd be like, you know, your standard like mechanics, you know, for household repairs, number 2. This is Craftsman, so P2, so Phillips 2. Okay, so we've got these 2 screws that we're not 100% sure. There's the longest one, which clearly goes up here, except maybe it doesn't. And then there's a shorter one that might go here. I'm wondering if that's what it goes on. And then maybe this middle length one goes through. Maybe it's got just a tiny bit, little bit smaller. I just can't tell. It's hard to tell. And it threads right away, guys. So that is also a very unusual thing. So let's try it, see what happens. I have to think that's gonna be too long, but guys, I'm just watching behind the wing. I know you guys can't see while I'm turning this, unless the camera crew comes around. Okay, so now it's pressing in. Oh, look, it's pushing it up.
I see that.
So that tells me, okay, we're gonna pause. I got an idea. Okay, so I got my well, not my snap ring tool. What am I trying to say?
Balling pliers.
Balling pliers. I'm gonna pop off the ball link, okay? I'm gonna pull this thing back out, okay? Oh, I still was kind of hooked up. Okay, you see what's going on there? I did not have the right size there, okay? You know why? You're supposed to put it from the top. No, it's just supposed to go in there. So the only way I can figure to do this, that is definitely wrong. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is it. Gosh, it doesn't seem like it fits.
Well, try the longest one then, I guess.
Maybe it is the longest one.
That would be highly unusual.
It would be highly unusual. I mean, it might make sense all of a sudden, folks. Our apologies for not knowing. This is a little bit unusual. This is a brand new style of plane, so those 2 colors are the same too. They're stainless. I'm gonna feel like such a moron if this is what it is. Look, guys, I should have done this before. Look. It still doesn't fit through.
Does it fit from the top?
Kinda. But then if it fits from the top, you see what's going on here? You see that plastic is wanting to stop it. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't understand what we're doing wrong. It's like it will take it and then it just guides it down to the nut. And then of course it pulls it all tight.
But isn't the nuts are usually the receiver part versus like what you screw into?
Yeah, but there's also a nut in the bottom of that thing.
Oh.
That's what's so weird about it. And that's why I'm a little bit weirded out on this. Like maybe we're doing it wrong. Because look, when I push this in, okay, here, look from this angle. See? The hole is tight enough that it's going through plastic, okay? So it keeps it at a certain attitude, okay? But I can't press it, you see? So I think it's just threaded into the plastic, so to speak, right? So maybe it's not even supposed to be threaded into it. It just happens to be threaded into it. Now I want to show you what happens when this comes out. There it is. Now see what I'm talking about? Like it is most definitely twisting in there. But now that it's in there, you can see the penetration level we're gonna get. Now it spins free, right? Mm-hmm. Which is very bizarre. So that's probably right because that'll reach down to bite the nutsert. But then is this thing gonna pop out? I don't know. Yeah, it's threaded enough that it's actually twisting out. So, okay. Well, guys, sorry for the confusion. What we do on Brian Phillips RC is we try not to add confusion to what should be a fairly unconfusing thing. In your application, you're gonna have a manual. It's gonna be able to show you that. Ours didn't exactly come with that because of the status. Okay, so here we go. Pushing it down. Try to do it so you guys can see better. Then as you press down, you slide it in until it gets all the way deep. And then while it's deep, now you can turn this in. I'm just hoping it starts. Because once it starts, it's gonna pull that down and it's gonna suck it into a tight joint. It's working this time, I can tell. See the tip of my Phillips number 2 is going in. It's getting deeper and deeper with every turn. Yep, okay, sorry. You gotta have to make room for me to swing. All right, guys, look at this, watch this. That's getting torqued down like crazy. Like I can barely go anymore. But I want to see that tighten down. See it? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's tight. I mean, it's definitely not coming out of there. It's not coming out at all. I'm very confident in that connection. I was very unconfident before. Look, you can see the tip of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. You see it rolled a little bit of metal out?
That's crazy.
Okay, so that's probably the most robust connection we've ever had on a foam plane. It's a little annoying that it was hard to do, but I'm glad that it's stout. I'm nervous though about that slide. Makes me nervous, okay? Now I don't know if this is even right yet, so I'm just, since I have the tool for this, I can put this on there and snap it on, okay? Right? So this would be a
balling pliers.
Balling pliers. That's what you play with your balls with. Okay, now, you can also see that our elevator linkage got pushed back while we were dinking around. And so I'm gonna just go in here and just kind of very gently, holy cow, that thing is so stiff, that's great. I couldn't even move it. What are these things? 13-gram digital A111 servos, okay?
Metal Gear servos.
Metal Gear servos, sweet. All right, so now the question becomes, is this a Y cable? It is a Y cable, okay? We are not going to put in the Y cable, are we? We are going to do optional flaps, okay? We are setting ours up with flaprons. My only fear is we do not have the exact nomenclature that you guys are gonna get. You see this ESC? I'm gonna just reposition that slightly so that it's down. I think it might have moved in shipping. So you see what, I just pushed it down, that's all, okay? So now that it's pushed down, also this warning label, I'm just gonna put that right into the file cabinet there. Not crazy about that wire being there. So I am going to work to bring that wire back here. Now remember, on Avian ESCs, this yellow cable is a programming cable and not a thrust reverse cable. So if you guys ever see this, it's not like your Predator ones. And I did just unplug that son of a biscuit lever. It's in the second cable slot. And the white goes toward the tail of the airplane. Okay. So when I was janking on it, I pulled it out. Sorry, folks. You won't necessarily have to do this step, but I'm doing this step because I was trying to show you something. Okay, now it's in. Now, the other thing too is they put in an extension cable for binding, and I'm trying to see where they put it because I can see it's in there already. What were they doing with a bind plug?
Normally it would go to the battery compartment, but is it up there?
Oh, there it is, yeah. So they did put the bind plug in for us. So you can bind by using the bind plug still technically, okay? But since we have to do setup, we're probably gonna go ahead and, if you guys wanna plug in your ailerons, this is where you would deviate from our plan. You would just take your left and your right, okay? Like this, and you would go brown, would go to brown, plug it into one or the other, doesn't really matter which one, because it's a Y cable. And then you would take your other one and you would plug so that the brown goes to the brown. So the brown is down in this case. And then what you would do to get this on here without any trouble is you would just give it a couple of loops like this and loop it down and stick it down in the hole, okay? But what I was trying to do before I accidentally yanked that out was this ferrite core is gonna totally be in the way of the battery. You see that? Mm-hmm. How the heck can we deal with that? Why is that right there? Gosh, I hate that ferrite core. I would totally take that out. They have to do it to be legally compliant with like FAA rules or some stupid thing, I'm sure. FCC, not FAA. In this case, it's a different bureaucracy that we can't fire.
Right.
Okay, so we'll just grin and bear it for now. But in our case, we are gonna go ahead and eliminate this Y cable. This Y cable can go bye-bye, okay? But radio setup is gonna be a little bit different because we want to automatically go and enable AS3X Plus, but we also wanna enable flaprons. Okay, so we're gonna pause and get ready for that. All right, so 1800 to 2200, 3 or 4S is recommended for this. So we're gonna be using a 2200 Gen 2 Smart Pack. This is, of course, a 50C. Now, they don't call out a C rating on what we have yet, but there should be an update and they will let you guys know. But I'm sure that we're good with 50C. So I'm gonna plug this into my S2200. And because this is a smart battery, this is how hard it is to charge. Once it's set up one time, it automatically does its auto discharge and all that good stuff. So yes, you can also use dumb packs if you want, but we're gonna be showing ours with a smart pack, okay? So the smart pack in 4S, 50C, but yes, you can go ahead and use any brand you want that fits that size classification. Just keep in mind, you're gonna be going to an IC3 connector, and so you'll need to have like an EC or an IC to whatever your brand variety is, okay? So this one's done charging. It was already charged. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to charge these. And when they're charged, it's very easy, okay? All right, so because this prop and plane are capable of chop sueying me bad, we're gonna be very careful when we work with this. And secondarily, I don't want to use Velcro, but this is a very, very fast plane. And so I'm going to go ahead and use shelf liner, and I'll show you that trick right now. And I know you guys probably are saying to yourself, you just said we were gonna do radio setup. Yes, this is part of the radio setup. Shelf liner comes in a couple of different garden varieties. This one is the kind that we used to use, but then we happened to find a random roll that was solid. And so that's super nice. It makes it so much easier, but it's also not that big a deal. This stuff works really good too. We just have sort of adapted to using this stuff. Instead, you get a roll for like 10, 15 bucks. We have that in our supplies tab. If you're looking for some, sometimes regrettably our supplies tab only shows links to this because we got this at like Menards. So if you don't have Menards, then you'll have to just grin and bear this type of shelf liner.
And if you don't know what Menards is, you're not from the Midwest. So
that's right, Menards.
We're sorry.
That's right, we're sorry. You don't know what 11% off means to everybody here. But that's all right. If it's not on 11% off, we're not buying it.
No.
That's what that means. All right, guys, so we have this little shelf liner on here, and you're like, well, what does this shelf liner do? This battery slips and slides like crazy. Now, I don't have to peel off and cover up the label with Velcro, or the label, or the not label, or whatever, and then always inevitably put it in the wrong spot. So now that we have that figured out, we can go ahead and get ready to plug this in. We're not gonna be plugging in the battery just quite yet. We'll get back to that in a minute. This strap is gonna suck to do, I can tell you that right now, okay?
That's a tight squeeze.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is what it is. When it's a small plane like this, there's only so much you can do, okay? So now look at this. I'm gonna stick this down here. And the thing that's so nice about this is now I can lay my battery in place. This is our bind plug, so we wanna kind of keep access to that without yanking it out. It's gonna be a little bit challenging, okay? Okay, so we'll put that in just like so. How the heck are we gonna get the Velcro? Gosh, there's just like so many moving things in the way. Who designed this thing to be right there?
Yeah, that's kind of in the way.
That stupid ferrite core. You know what I'm gonna do? I should do the right thing and take it off, but I'm gonna do the wrong thing and be lazy.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it over to the side. Sometimes when you need a tight squeeze, you just pull it to the side and just slide right by. She agrees. Okay, right there. We generally aren't in that big of a hurry, are we?
Not usually.
And adjust things to make for proper entry. This is ridiculous. There it is. Got it. Finally.
Where's the receiver? You're gonna like run into
yeah, you're right. I am running into the receiver. Good point. You know what? At least we don't have to worry about placement.
I mean, it's not gonna go anywhere.
There. But I do have to point out something. We've learned in our experience in RC, okay? If it's hard to load, do I still have the pliers over there?
No, all we have is the number 2 screwdriver.
Ones?
Yeah, those ones.
Leave it in the comments below if you guys have tools in your kitchen. I want to know I'm not the only insane person. Ooh, that's scary.
I don't think you're really gonna need the strap. Where's it gonna go?
Megan, we're gonna need the strap. We're gonna need the strap. Ow! Okay, never mind. I guess it's glued in there. Oh, the devil's in the details. You make the most stiff, beautiful plane, and then the strap. Guard variety strap. I guess mine, you know, the other thing is some people are going to put Velcro on, and then they can just stick that down in there, I wonder.
Right.
That bind plug is going to be redonkulous. Okay, sorry, bind plug. You lose, I win. Bye. Get out of my life.
Oh, jeez.
Bind plug. 0. Brian Phillips RC 1.
Except we have to keep that forever now, so
We'll use
I
it.
still lost.
No, we'll use it. Why do we have these in here? Was that just in case we needed to extend it? Oh, it's in case people have to take their wing off or something?
No, because you need them for the flapper-ons.
No, you don't. Because you got, look, you got plenty of length here, okay?
Oh, then maybe it's just for an extension
Yeah, see, look.
purposes.
Maybe it was just a kindness.
Well, but if you want to plug them, if you have to take this apart, you can plug it into the receiver
Why would
and
you
then
have to
your
take apart
extension.
an 1100 millimeter plane?
If you drive a moped,
Then I would keep it together then for sure. It might fly out of your hand. Okay, so, all right, guys, are you paying attention to what's happening?
Yes.
The other thing too is look at that antenna. You'll want to check your antenna positioning, okay? This antenna comes out that way, and I'm just realizing that that antenna is where my battery's getting crammed in. That was a very bad call. Pull that sucker out. What the heck? Is it taped down somewhere? I cannot tell. I hope we didn't damage our antenna. Where does it go? Oh. Show the people. Look, it's right there.
move your hand.
It goes right there. Look over my finger.
Oh, yes, I see it. I saw it.
So it's out of the way at least. Okay, so we don't need to worry about that. That's
Now-
one less thing to worry about. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Velcro this under the battery. This is gonna be the dumbest battery install ever. Look at this.
You should see if your strap is loose while you're in there.
It's not. It's like stuck down. That's how they did it. It's stuck down. I'm sorry, it's not. Okay, so the other thing is while we're out, we're gonna go around it like this. That needs to, oh, there's a channel there, what the heck? That needs to be glued there. It says no glue on the packaging. Should I just call them on it and just stick some glue in there?
Just glue it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're sticking it down, folks. So here on Brian Phillips RC, we show the full truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God, which means that occasionally we show brand new planes that should be amazing and the different struggles you might experience while you're building them, okay? Make no mistake, we find ways to make simple things hard. But you probably will too on this one, just because there's not enough real estate to get around it, okay? Now, the other thing is because I want flap-ons and I'm not gonna compromise, I'm going to do that first. Now, you may not want flap-ons. You would have already been built probably by now, okay? So in order to set this plane up, I have to turn on my transmitter and we have to do a radio setup, okay? Radio setup is relatively easy. By the time you guys are seeing this video, there's a good probability that you can download the model into your memory, but I'm not gonna do that because here on this channel, that kind of goes against what we do, and so we are gonna show you how to set up your model from scratch, okay? Now, the other thing too is, we don't know exactly how this is set up, so I don't know. Let's cancel them back and go to add new model. We're gonna create an acro, okay? So once we create the acro, it's gonna take like 475 years. Spectrum Airwear is only supposed to support 250 model memory. We have like 300 and something. So I don't know if that's just like a suggestion or sort of like a technical like loosity. But I can tell you this, we have not crashed the system yet and we're well beyond that, okay? So normally this is where you would type in the name and all this stuff, but I am kind of curious. I'm gonna go back out. I wanna just go to regular acro, okay? I don't wanna chop suey, so I'm gonna be extra careful when I do this. I'm gonna leave my ailerons unplugged, and I'm gonna go ahead and just, until we can trust the system, I'm gonna go ahead and see what happens when I try to plug all this crap in. Because if it allows me to download the model, maybe I'll download the model once, because this is really a pretty basic plane. I wanna see what comes across first. maybe we can set up the flaperons right off the bat.
Right. Okay.
Kind of guessing not, okay? But they're optional. You don't have to set up flaperons. We'll show you how to do it here on Brian Phillips RC, okay? So now when I plug this in, you see I'm close to that prop. If it would start, I would be in harm's way. So I'm going to hold this here, okay? I'm gonna plug it in. I'm going to press the bind button. Yep, so it's the binding. So now I'm gonna scroll down here and I'm gonna go to bind. And I'm gonna bind it to my transmitter, okay? See, 232. So now we just wait for everything to initiate. Auto config starting. Once it's done auto configuring, things come to life. Of course, you can. Okay, so receiver file, dance. All right, so I don't have anything set up. The receiver contains a preloaded smart file. Let's go ahead and load it. This will overwrite all current settings, but it's, whoa, that's fancy. We've never seen that. Okay, throttle cut is on.
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut off.
Elevator up, elevator down. Okay, yaw left, yaw right. Okay, pretty cool. So now it's capable of working. So we have to test the throttle with the throttle cut on. Now throttle cuts off. Holy cow.
Okay.
Okay, throttle cuts on. Now we can hypothetically trust this, okay? I'm gonna scroll over and just see what we have. We have all this stuff, so I'm gonna hit back, or excuse me, I'm gonna hit that. I'm gonna go to rates and expo and just see what they set up. What are we attached to? Switch F, okay, so that's kind of cool.
Aileron, high rates. Aileron, low rates. Aileron, low rates. Aileron, low rates. Aileron, high rates.
Man, that's annoying.
Aileron, low
Oh, they're on G. Where's G?
Thrust reverse.
rates.
No.
Well, I mean, that's what we would
That's
use.
what we would use, but don't say that for the people that have no clue what we're talking about. So this is rudder. And then ailerons, elevator, and rudder. So elevator's on C.
Elevator, low rates. Elevator, low rates. Elevator.
Okay, so it looks like 100
Elevator, high rates.
and 10. Okay, so we could actually change all that crap and just set it back to what we want.
Low rates.
But then they have audio events. Where is the audio event? Switch changes. Oh, good Lord. Look at all these audio events, okay? So now that we know what the default setting is, we can scroll over. Oh, we also have the avian set up. Now, did they set up thrust reverse? Let's check. Okay, how would we know if thrust reverse were set up? I guess I would probably hold the plane and I would check my throttle cuts on and I'd press the I switch. I don't see anything there. I would move this switch. It looks like the gear switch is moving something. That's probably safe. AS3X. Hard to tell when you don't have, yep, that's probably safe. Or AS3X, it's hard to tell yet. But the gear switch is doing something. And then it looks like auxiliary 2 is still attached to B. And then nothing is attached to that. And my sliders don't really seem to have any impact. Okay, so we've ruled out that they have anything set up for flaperons, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to System Setup, Disconnect RF, and I'm just gonna go to Model Type. Oh wow, it's got it typed in there. And Model Aircraft Type, rather. Yep, so they just have normal wing type. So if you were to switch it to flaperons, that does not make flaperons work necessarily. It's going to overwrite and screw up the file because of the call outs for the different plug positions, okay? So when I scroll over here and then scroll back once, you'll see right aileron, elevator, rudder, gear, left aileron, okay? So they want it to be on port 2. And then they want left aileron on port 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So my only issue here is I'm pretty sure that we technically have our Avian ESC plugged into port 2. So we're gonna see how this goes. No, it's in port 1. It is in port 1. The bind plug had an extension cable. Okay, throttle cuts off, throttle works, throttle cuts on, elevator works, ailerons not sure yet. Okay, so the ailerons and rudder, we can test that. Now let's just go ahead and see what happens, because if it works, I can hear braking, folks. So there's already braking initiated, so that's interesting. And I'm gonna plug this in. How do we know which one's which, folks? Oh, the other thing too, since I didn't set it up, I am going to check right now while I've got this off the edge of the counter. I'm gonna click and I'm gonna go down to throttle cut. Throttle cut, switch H, okay?
Throttle cut off. Throttle cut off.
Okay, so they didn't do anything fancy. Remember guys, when it comes to safety features, you have to check and recheck and check and recheck. Don't get caught because you trusted somebody, okay? I don't trust anybody until the machine proves it's true, okay? All right, so now we can lay this here where I'm in closer proximity. You still probably want to take off the prop if you're not sure. Okay, obviously we have a right and a left. So this would be the right, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's getting a little toasty. What's going on? Oh, it was just making a noise like it was rattling. Okay, so this one is gonna go over and it's gonna be our right. Okay, so thank you. So the right side is now in my hand and we wanna put the white going backward. I'm gonna scroll over one click and then it goes to the X plus first for some reason. So it goes throttle and then it goes right. So I'm just gonna pull these out of the way. And I'm just gonna plug this in if I can get enough length. Okay. And since I happen to have the screwdriver here, I'll just help to depress that down in there. Should be a pretty easy process, folks. Okay, so that's pressed in. Now remember, we haven't gone through forward programming and you don't want to do that first. You have to do that after you're all done setting this. So this will be in channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all the way to the end. Okay, so the last available port with the brown being toward the front. And I'm sorry if you guys are hearing AS3X. I cannot see very good.
Do you want me to turn the light on? Or
No.
shadow you?
Nope, I got it. We're good now. Okay, I'm in. All right, so now that we're plugged in, we're gonna move the ailerons and they're already working, but we probably don't have the flap mode set up yet. So we'll have to set that up, but that's just a few seconds worth of effort. Throttle cut is on. You'll notice I call that out a lot on this plane because I just think it's gonna be fierce, okay? So, 2 screws. Get this out of the way. The other reason I chose to set this up the way I did is because I didn't want to use that bind wire. Originally, I was thinking, we'll just try it. But then the battery just made it near impossible and I'm like, screw that. So I did a loop, and I did a loop, and I did a loop until such a time as this sat down in perfectly, okay? Very nice. Now I'm gonna take the longer of the 2, stick it through, and I'm gonna take the shorter of the 2 and stick it through. Guys, I have to apologize about our tail. I feel like I kind of screwed the pooch on that one pretty bad. The tail should have been easy and it wasn't because I didn't know which one was which. So hopefully by watching my video, you guys will avoid that conflict. And here on Brian Phillips RC, you can watch me screw it up first and then you don't have to look like an idiot.
So we used the longest screw in the tail.
Which is sort of weird.
Counter to it, for sure. Then the middle at the front and the shortest screw there in the back where you are right now.
Yeah, and I hope that's right too.
Right.
Which, to be honest with you, I'm not sure. But we'll find out. You'll notice I did test the movement of the ailerons, but I didn't check the direction. I probably should do that right now before I get too much further. Yeah, that's the right direction. So what the heck? It's gonna be super easy. Elevator up, elevator down, y'all left, y'all right. Okay, no flaps are set up yet, no big deal. Or flaps might be on the D switch. I'm gonna go ahead and set them up on the switch I want to set them up on. There's a lot of threads on these screws.
There is. It's a lot of screwing.
It's usually not a complaint, but it is a reality. We're all about just pointing out the obvious here on Brian Phillips RC.
Yeah.
And sometimes the funny thing is I say that, but the God's honest truth is a lot of the stuff we do is not obvious. It's obvious to us because we're used to it. Well, if you are not one of us weird RC fanatics, you probably don't know half the stuff we're talking about. But we're gonna get you to that point, and that's why I elaborate on a lot of things, and it's annoying for some of us.
That are filming. I mean.
No, more veteran. Come here. I don't know how to get this through.
I don't.
You block my light.
I don't know either.
See? Thank you. You see what I'm talking about? How the heck am I gonna make this so that it's not obnoxiously difficult every time? But I want that to be about there. I just don't want to fight it every time. Do you guys have that problem? Leave it in the comments below if yours came that way too. Because honestly, if that was up a 1/4 inch higher, I could feed it through no problem and it would be so easy. Now, I put my shelf liner in there, but it's compressed now to the point where it's not causing a problem. So I just need to try to get this to bend. So I'm gonna put a little bit of a 90 on it. See this? A little bit of a 90. And then that lip is gonna hopefully guide it up and out of the foam. But I'm gonna have to do 2 90s. So you see what I've done there? Now I'm gonna do a second one, just kind of like a zip tie. When you can't get a zip tie to go into a tight spot. We could probably iron this too. It would give you that little memory. So now look at this, folks. Look at this. That might be the difference between hand launching this plane prematurely and putting it in like a normal person. Okay, now you've got all the slack and excess. That's why they put it where they put it. But then there's not quite enough room to deal with the tail. So I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna do a 45-degree angle, and then I'm just gonna drop it down and it'll get out of the way, right? And then this EC3 is gonna slide down in here. Boy, that is a tight squeeze. We have seen that from E-flite before. Kind of reminds me of when we fly the, what's that gigantic one? The Night.
The Night Radian?
The Night Radian. Yeah, it's super like.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's a giant rat's nest in there.
Oh, I do
Because
remember that. All
for
the
lights.
wires. Yeah.
Okay, all right. See, remember, as long as it took to charge the battery. Challenge accepted. Okay, guys, so you can see the size. This thing has got a little bit of, let's call it weight. So you're definitely not sub 250. So if you're trying to fly legal and you're not in a FRIA, make sure you use your remote ID. If you use your remote ID, a couple of different options. You don't even have to use the Spectrum one, but the Spectrum one would be awesome on here because you would get some extra telemetry data. Or you can do whatever you want. We really don't care what you do. So this one's cheap, this one's more expensive, but this one's gonna give you some GPS feedback. Yes, you can power that from the onboard equipment and it's super fancy. Lots of these different cables and stuff come with it, so you can do that if you want, if you have to worry about compliance issues where you fly, or if you fly in a free, you should be good to go, especially for recreational purposes. If you're Part 107, it gets a little bit different, but that's fine. I'm not gonna go into all the legalese. And by the way, we don't talk about it a lot because we're not lawyers. We don't even pretend to be one on YouTube.
Nope.
So, that being said, this thing should be ready to rock and roll technically as an ordinary plane, but we just set up flatbrons for a reason. And that's if you weren't gonna use AS or X or safe. But in this case, elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. So that's all correct, and the throttle cut works and the throttle works. So you could technically fly this right now, but we need to finish the setup so that it's correct. Flight mode 1. That doesn't change flight modes. Throttle cut is on. Flight mode 2. So that doesn't change it. So where the heck are the flight modes? They don't have the flight mode set up, right?
It doesn't look like it.
No, no, no. I'm throttle, stick is down. Yeah, it doesn't change it. So I'm not sure where they set their flight mode. So I'm gonna go ahead and just do some changes here. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into audio events and I'm gonna go to switch changes and I'm just gonna go inhibit, boom. Inhibit, boom. Inhibit, boom. Inhibit, boom. Rudder, switch G. Oh, Inhibit, boom. Inhibit, boom. I don't mind the throttle cut, that's okay. We'll leave that. Okay, so now, the next thing I need to do is go down to flap system. Where is flap system? Do we have flap system?
You didn't change the wing type yet.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? System setup, aircraft type, flaperon. Let's see what the images are. Standard image file. Okay, they already selected one. Okay, no big deal. Just to be difficult, I'm gonna switch it. Well, I wanna know that I switched it, you know? Okay, so F mode set up, they don't have it set up. Okay, so I'm gonna set it up myself to switch D. Why? Because I wanna do it the way I know how to do it. Spoken flight mode, this is where we type it in. So this is gonna be the thing that goes up on the screen, cancel, cancel. Now I'm gonna highlight. They put all that stupid high-low rate crap in there, but they didn't
do flight modes?
Yeah, that's bizarre. Okay, so we're gonna do AS3X. That's gonna be the first one. So artificial stabilization, 3X for 3-axis, okay? Now you don't have to do this. You can just turn on the flight mode, it's up to you. And then the spoken is way down here. So we'll go ahead and come back when we unpause. Okay, so here's AS3X mode. Then we want to set this up. Oh, now it says speak takeoff flaps. Oh, great. So takeoff flaps. Where the heck was that? We didn't see any switch that did it.
Change.
Okay, so we're going to change that. Obviously, this is going to be off. If we even have an off setting, there might not be. And so I'm a little bit nervous about going through all this titling. So here's off, cancel, cancel, and that clears it. And then I'm gonna type the word OFF. So guys, if you're brand new to Brian Phillips RC and you want some help, just do what we say on your first couple of planes and we'll help get you where you wanna be. AS3X mode, off, and then this is gonna be landing flaps. Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down to safe. Well, at least I don't have to scroll as fast or far. Here we go. Safe mode. Then I'm going to type it in. Cancel, cancel. This is what displays on the screen. Remember, this is just a label. It is not actually what calls out the command structure to do safe. AS3X, off, and safe mode. Okay? All right. Very good. So now channel assign. Now we can look in here. Looks like channel 7 was set to Bravo. So I wonder... But nothing changed when I changed B. Okay, so we don't care about anything that's unpluggable because there's actually an extra pluggable channel in there and they have it set to A, which is fine because that's gear. I really don't care. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but we could inhibit it just to be on the safe side. And then on channel 7, I want to not have anything tied to it. So what did they have? Did they maybe have something on channel 7?
What would it be?
I don't know. I'm going to inhibit it because I don't want to find out what it was. Okay, so because we have 20 channels now, I'm going to go up to 10 just to make sure there's no crosstalk here. And I'm going to set it to switch B. Well, except I need flaps. Yeah, so I'll just do my flap mode here. Oh, except we don't need to do that. We just need to do the flight mode, right?
Right.
Yeah, so we just need to make sure. Okay, so we'll set this to D or scroll all the way to the right. And then, whoa, does it go in a scroll now? No, it doesn't. Flight mode, okay? So you can do that or D, because I already signed D to flight mode. So you can make this say D or the word flight mode, okay? Then we'll walk back out. We'll see if we get our flap menu. There's differential. So you can do differential. There should be a flap mode in here. There it is. I swear it wasn't in there before.
I know, that's weird.
Okay, so, oh, look, they got flight modes attached to this. See, that was on that channel, but we never had it activated. Okay, so I'm going to switch B. Okay, so now it just changes it to positions. Perfect. So this is spoiler on or flapper on, okay? So in my case, I'm going to set it to, that's probably why they did that too, because there's a 2-second deployment speed. So let's just go. See how they're both going down? They're both working. What the heck? Oh boy. Are they? It's hard to tell if that's an even deployment. It's close. It's got to be really close. Yeah, I think it's even. Because there is such a thing as, back in the day, you would have more deployment on one than the other because of the AS3X system. It would call out less than 100% throws. And so, like when you're in safe mode, one would move, you know, like 60% instead of moving 100%. So you would have flaps that would deflect and then the plane would roll, okay? Even though safe would try to resist it. It just was wonkadelic. Okay, so let's say that that was takeoff flaps. We don't want that, because since these are flaperons, we want that to be normal flight. But now we know which way goes down. So that was, so you could do spoilerons if you want. And to be honest, I'm kind of curious which one's gonna be better on this plane. I think we'll try flaps first. So we'll just do like a hand launch setting. So we'll do like 20. Now these are so far inboard, they're almost a full length. So I feel like our elevator is gonna need to go down, okay? Now, it's hard to tell what direction it's going, so just overshoot a lot so you can see. Okay, so if this goes down at the same time, what that means is if you have an inboard flap, you deploy them, that usually makes the plane want to balloon without a change in throttle setting, okay? Or waiting long enough that it slows down, okay? So what you do to counteract that is you put down a little bit of elevator and you keep it level. So that's gonna help slow your plane down. You're gonna reduce the stall speed. You're gonna create more drag. In real life, you'll change kind of the angle of attack a little bit because the angle of incidence on the wing stays the same, but it's perceived as a little bit different when you change the shape of the wing, okay? All right, so I'm gonna change this from 69 to about +6. And then for this one is gonna be, you could do spoilers the other way and just kind of figure out which direction you like better. But I think in this case, I wanna keep a little bit of throw, but I wanna be able to slow it down. Let's see what 100 does. Oh, we still have a little bit of downward movement. What do you think, camera crew?
If it's gonna go really fast, we might need to be able to slow it down.
So let's do 6 and 10. It's kind of weird. It doesn't seem like it moved much on the second. Yeah,
Not
it does a little
much.
bit, but it's
Yeah.
only 4% more compared to 6 at the onset.
Yeah.
Okay, so takeoff flaps are down just a little bit. I want to go a little bit more probably. Let's do 30 and 100. Okay, and then we still have the action of the ailerons. Now, we can go into, there's got to be a cool, creative way to make this a matrix, and I think that's why they were using flight modes. Because if you use the flight mode, you could make a matrix, and then you could have up and down from the same switch configuration. So like if you had flaperons here and flaps here, but I think for now, we're just gonna go with our more standard operating procedure, okay? We don't normally load the menu and load the setup from the receiver, but we did it this time just because I was like, hey, what the heck, let's see how it works.
Well, we don't have a manual,
And we've already
so.
undone like almost all the stuff,
Right.
okay? So now we're gonna go to expo and rates or dual rates. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to, we usually do 5, 10, and 20. Okay, so then we don't lower the rates to 70 like ever. We'll do 5, 10, and then we'll do 20% expo, and we'll drop this down to 90, okay? So this is our most sensitive sticks. Then we have our normal takeoff first setting where we're gonna fly and maiden the plane. And then if we need a little bit more, we got a little bit more. And then if we need a little less, we've got a halving effect or a doubling effect, you see? So we start in the middle, and then we're gonna set all that to the same switch because I don't wanna be waffling around looking for switches, guys, when I'm maidening an airplane. And by the way, for those of you that don't understand, what we do here on Brian Phillips RC, we're pretty much almost always maidening planes. So when you jump on and you're like, geez, Brian, it's not that hard to fly that plane. Well, just remember, it's like the first or second time I've flown it. And so that's why we call it an unbox build radio setup and then a maiden flight. It is our first flight. So if you see me flying a plane for the 76th time, I would hope that I would be better, but it's not. It's my first, second, sometimes third or fourth flight. It's unusual that we do that many, but usually we do 2 flights, maybe 1. A lot of times it's 1 when it's bad out because we don't get opportunities to fly. The weather is so terrible right now, this time of year. Okay, so continuing on, so you can see the elevator, same thing, 5% expo, then 10% expo, then 20, and we drop the rates down just a little bit to take the edge off. So we start, we have a doubling effect and we have a halving effect. So it's the same exact setup. And then we're gonna, again, set this to switch F. Okay, so we're gonna go to 5%, and then 10%, and we're gonna reduce, put our rates back to 100. Then we're gonna go down to the low setting, we're gonna go to 20%, and then we're gonna go to 90. I just hit clear to get it to 100, it's a little easier to scroll down. Okay, so now all 3 of those settings for rudder, elevator, and aileron are all on the same switch, so we've now wasted a lot less switches. Okay, now keep in mind, guys, when you're making a decision about what transmitter you wanna get, we usually recommend the NX10. For a long time, we've been recommending that because we needed the additional channels in order to do some of the stuff we do on this channel. But nowadays, since the NX8 and the NX10 have 20 channels, we don't need to have the additional sliders and the Hall effects gimbals. So if you don't need those things, you could go to the 8. You've got the same number of switches, I believe, and you've still got the rotary knob up here. You've still got, the same antenna. You've still got all the same call-outs, the vocal call-outs from the Spectrum Airwear Annoying Chick. And the only thing you would give up is the sliders. If you don't use them, you're not losing anything. And then you've got the regular gimbals, which are plenty good. Like, unless you're doing crazy 3D, it's not gonna matter anyway. So we have an NX8 over there and we have a brand new one. So when we run out of memory, we're gonna start showcasing that. So that being said, the NX10 comes with a bigger battery. I think it comes with a different lanyard, but there's just small differences. So get what fits your needs. And I was talking about switches just a minute ago. The way the factory set this up, they were gonna need multiple switches to do that. The way I set it up, I need 1 switch. Then I usually use G for my thrust reverse if I'm using it. And then I use the H switch almost exclusively for throttle cut because that's what I always want to go to. I don't really use my bind button for thrust reverse or anything, but a lot of you guys have done thrust reverse, like the pilot fatigue setting that I like to call it, where it just goes full throttle. You just press that and you give it a burst of full throttle regardless of your stick position. It's a pretty cool idea, but I do not do pilot fatigue on prop driven planes. I feel it's a little bit too big of a safety risk, especially since we're helping a lot of new pilots. Secondarily, it's not, I have trouble getting to the I switch. It's physically hard for me to get to it during a flight. Okay, I'm exaggerating that motion, but I don't like to take my hands off the sticks to get to it, which is why I use the B switch for my flaps as opposed to the D switch, which is common from the factory. I use this for my flight mode because it's unusual that I need to switch flight modes. I usually fly in AS3X. Okay? So if I need to switch between those modes, I just go to it and do it because I can do it when I'm in a controlled flight, throttle cut is on. If my throttle sticks up, I can get to it and come back to it. But when you're actively piloting or flying an RC airplane, you're always making small corrections, okay? AS3X makes that easier because it's doing even more, and then SAFE makes it even easier still, okay? Now, just because this plane has SAFE doesn't mean that you should be flying it if you're a brand new pilot. But at the same time, you could probably pick a worse plane. I'm just saying, okay? I'm not suggesting if you're brand new that you get this because they're suggesting it's a skill level 2. Skill level 1 is a pretty broad range, okay? Skill level 2 narrows. Skill level 3, they start to get a little bit challenging for us. And then I think they technically have a skill level 4.
I think they do.
We just don't see them very often. Okay, now, switch C is no longer used for anything. Switch D is used for our AS3X safe off, so in the center is off. Switch E, nothing yet. Switch C is kind of like a spare for us. And then I use this for master gains if the master gains are relevant. Come around here, camera crew. We're gonna get ready to test forward programming and stuff because I don't even know where they have safe attached, if it's attached, but I can tell nothing changes. Okay? So what I need to do is I need to now go into forward programming, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna turn on advanced menus, gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains. Okay, so you can see we're in mode 2 because it's not set up yet. Okay, save select. See, there it is, channel 2. I'm changing it to aux 5, but I don't really want it to be aux 5. I want it to be flight mode. Is it gonna let me do flight mode? Nope. I'll just do aux 5 that way. That's okay because that's actually the channel that's connecting to it, okay? So I wanna make save select on, meaning that it is capable of being on, not that it's on. And I want it on. Ooh, see, it won't let me change it. See, we're in disagreement. Now I'm gonna walk out of the menu structure. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go to servo setup, travel, whoops. Highlight travel, scroll over to reverse, and I'm just gonna reverse aux 5, okay?
Safe mode. Off. AS3X mode.
Okay, so now we've got that working. I can go back into forward programming, gyro settings, save select,
Safe mode.
on.
Off.
Watch this, off.
Safe mode. Off.
Except,
AS3X mode.
okay,
See?
Yep.
See how I did that? So they hide that in that menu, even though we don't have to backdoor this thing.
Right.
And so it's super nice. Okay, cool. So now look, flight mode 3,
Off.
flight mode 2.
Safe mode. Off.
See how those numbers disappear?
Off. Safe
Pretty cool, huh? So in AS3X mode, that's what we're gonna have for our rate gains. Now you can change those values if you want, but I'm not gonna change them, okay? Priority, 120, 120, 120, 140. Okay. Stop lock release rate, 15, 30, 20. Next, 55, 55, 75. Now watch this. When I go to my off setting, watch what happens. The numbers depopulate because there is nothing on. The numbers depopulate because that's not on for that setting.
off. AS3X mode.
Okay, now previous, hit back, hit back, hit back, other settings. This is where you can backdoor everything and reset it from scratch, okay? Now, the other thing you might want to do is, I wanna just confirm one detail. You can do factory reset if you want, but I wanna double check one thing. Whoops. I wanna go to gyro settings, save select. Now watch this. You see how I turn this middle setting off?
AS3X mode.
Okay.
Off.
I'm gonna turn it back on. Now watch this. Walk back out, go to gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains. Okay, 46, 35, 24. 46, 35, 24. You see, we didn't lose anything because it's not like the factory had decided to make a middle intensity mode, okay? So I'm just going to, I disconnected. That happens sometimes. Just reconnect, just jump right back in. And then you're gonna go to gyro settings. Now go to save select. We can go back in here to the middle setting and actually turn AS3X off. Then all of our call outs are correct. Okay, so now that we've done that, we should be able to see no stabilizer activity. When I grab my plane, I'm going to double check my throttle cut is working because I heard a chime when we came out. Okay, throttle cut's on. Very good. Nothing, guys, nothing, okay? Now, AS3X, elevator up, elevator down, yaw left, yaw right, aileron up, aileron down. It's kind of hard to tell, so I'm gonna put my hand on it. Up, down, yep. Up, no stabilizer. No stabilizer. stabilized. No stabilizer. You know why? Because we put the flaperons. Now watch this. Safe mode. Okay? So it's finding the quickest route to level, but it's only doing it with this servo because this one is not set up through forward programming. Okay? So look at the elevator. It's trying to find level. It's trying to find level. Okay? The rudder doesn't do anything in safe mode. So, I mean, in terms of stabilization, it's going to still stabilize. And yes, it is working. So now I'm going to put you guys with me so you can see this. Now watch this. That aileron, I'm going to roll the plane. You'll just take my word for it. It's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. I'm moving it drastically. Look at that, nothing. Whole lot of nothing. Whole lot of nothing. If you're not sick yet, you will be soon. Okay, up, now down. Now up, now down. Now up. It's hard to see in the video. I'm going to try to hold this one better. This one's going to be the hardest one to see. The rudder, the rudder, the rudder, the rudder. Okay? So the idea is if you can't see, take your hand, place it on this, up, oh yeah, down, up, put your hand on there. Okay? See?
Yeah, you can feel it.
You can definitely feel it, right? Okay.
Yes.
So the idea is if you can't see, put your hand on it, move it in the axis of correction, okay? Now you're like, but you're pitching it. No, I mean, I'm still, it's still relative to the receiver's position. Oh yeah. And all you want it to do is you want to feel the resistance and then feel the resistance. Whatever direction you rotate it, it should be fighting. And there ain't nothing going on. Feel it. You got to put your hand on it. Nothing.
Nothing.
There's nothing. So, what have we learned from this exercise? We have learned that in order to do the flaperon configuration and get the full potential from AS3X Plus, which by the way, 2 ailerons make a big difference, okay? We're still working. Everything is working, right? And then the stabilizer is working, but we just aren't going to be able to have a stabilizer on both control surfaces. Let's see if there's a backdoor real quick. Forward programming. It is activated already. Other settings. Yeah, factory reset, frame rate, initiate. Okay, so here's what we have to do. Go to gyro settings. I'm gonna teach you guys how to backdoor these things because I know you're probably thinking, hey, I'm not sure what you mean by that, Brian. What I mean is we have to write down some stuff and then we'll just copy it, okay? So this is, I mean, of course, if you're by yourself and you're not filming, you just like take a picture with your phone, which I guess I could technically just do that, but. All right, so AS3X settings, click, gains. So it's gonna be roll at 46, pitch at 35, and yaw at 24%, okay? Percent. Right, that's AS3X gains. Okay. Then we wanna hit back. You wanna go back into priority. And remember, you're in the mode, you wanna make sure you're in the mode that you're gonna actually have that on. Okay, so priority. And that's gonna be the same order, so we can just do it here. 120, 120, and then 140, okay? Then we're gonna hit back, and then we're gonna go to stop lock release. So there's 2 of these settings here, okay? So this is stop lock release rates, so stop, and then this is gonna be 15, okay? And then 30, and then 20. Then I'm gonna go to next, and then this is gonna be stop release, stop lock, stop release, stop lock, and release, okay? So 55, 55, and then 75. So they actually modified that. That's unusual. We usually don't see that. Now that's gonna be on, what plane are we on? The ElectroStreak, okay? Bind and fly. Now, this is kind of a bass-backwards way of doing this, but you gotta know how to do it, and we're gonna teach you how to do it. Well, how do you know how to do this stuff, Brian? Because I did it a bunch of times, and I figured out how to do this stuff. Other settings. Factory reset. Yes. Throttle cut may not be active, so just be aware. Okay, click for menu. Walking back, scroll over one. You can see the surfaces are all the same. Okay, so that's good. It's possible that it's actually not bound anymore as well. So I'm gonna go to system setup, disconnect RF, aircraft type. Yep, that's correct. That's correct. Yep. So everything else I think is saved. Yeah, because we can see our call outs.
Oh yeah.
Okay. We have no audio vents for that. That's good. This doesn't have an audio vent. Throttle cut is definitely on. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna scroll this thing over. We're gonna put it over the edge of the counter to be on the safe side. And guess what we get to do?
We have to take the wings off so we can.
No, not
bind.
necessarily. There might be a way to force it into bind mode because I think there's a way to do it. So if you go to bind, ha 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 ha. See how that worked?
Nice. Okay.
Because we were already in bind mode. Okay, so now we're gonna wait and let everything initiate. Whoa, all sorts of crap up there. That was weird.
Exciting.
Yeah, a little exciting, I'd say. Okay, so throttle cut is currently on. I definitely do not trust the motor. Throttle cut's off. Throttle up, throttle down, throttle cut's on. Okay, I'm gonna unplug and replug. I don't see any movement either. Okay, this time is where you wanna be kind of careful. When I reinitiate this, we don't know what's gonna happen. That's interesting. So I wonder if it's actually not bound. Okay, so here's what we're gonna try again real quick. We're gonna click, we're gonna scroll down to bind. Okay, so that's why you wanna leave that bind wire in there, because now we have to take off the wing to get down there and hit the bind switch. Or we need to figure a way to go straight into it, which I'm not sure I'm willing to cut a hole in this one because I don't know exactly where it is.
Right.
I mean, I know about where it is, but I don't know exactly where it is. So we'll pause while we do that and we'll come right back. All right, so we got the two screws out. We're just gonna lift this off carefully. We'll just set this to the side. And then you can see where the bind button is, right in here. Right there. Okay, so I'm gonna press that bind button here in just a second. Hear it clicking, okay? All right, so now that this is accessible, my throttle cut is on, but that doesn't really mean much. I don't trust this plane at this point. So I'm gonna plug it in. I'm gonna hold the plane that could hurt me in a way that it can't hurt me, okay? Now I'm gonna click my transmitter. I'm gonna be prepared to go into bind, and then I'm gonna press and hold the bind button. What? Hold on. Okay, so we are bound. Throttle cut's on, tested. Throttle cut's off. All right, this is what happened. I failed to give it long enough time to stabilize, almost certainly.
So it just wasn't an issue.
It just wasn't an issue. It just wasn't started because I didn't have it leveled out yet. Dang, guys, I'm real sorry. I guess I didn't have to take this wing off. I'm gonna put the screws back on and come right back. All right, so we got our wing back on. Obviously, you can skip that step, which I would have liked to skip it too. All right, so we'll put our canopy back on and we'll go ahead and twist it so everything is where it needs to be. Now let's talk about throttle cut. Throttle cut's off. Oh yeah, throttle cut's on. I still hear braking and we can test it with throttle cut on. Most definitely has braking and it is very strong braking. Okay, so that's good because it's not a folding prop. Now, admittedly, am I disappointed it's not a folding prop? Yes, because I think it would look cooler, even though we probably don't need it. Now, let's see how much we have to actually reset. Because at this point, we are now virgin mode. Elevator down, elevator up, wrong, wrong, correct, okay? So what do we have to do? We have to go through a full virgin setup on the surfaces. Reverse, elevator, reverse, rudder. Yaw left, yaw right, elevator up, elevator down. Roll left, roll right. Now, just to be 100% crystal clear, everything else in the setup still seems to be here, okay? It's just the forward programming stuff that actually makes the application of AS3X and or safe has been totally lost as part of the factory reset, as well as all of these things that we wrote down, okay? That's why we wrote them down, okay? So I'm gonna hit back, rates and expo. All this stuff is all set. You don't have to redo any of that stuff, okay? See, it's all set. Throttle cut is still set, it's still working. Flap system is still working, as you can see, and we obviously are moving. We are going the right direction. Hold on, I'm thinking through this right here. That's gonna roll us that way, that's gonna roll us that way. If you have to think about it, it's okay. I'd rather you think about it now than when you're crashing. Okay, so that's gonna roll the plane, okay? And that's gonna roll the plane. You always have to check all the modes when you have flaperons because there are two different surfaces actuating, okay? All right, so we're good there. Oh, we gotta check our elevator correction. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. That is correct, okay? So we're good there. Timer, we don't care about that. Sorry, why was I thinking about the timer? Where is forward programming? Where's forward programming?
Where is it?
Value 50.
Okay, so everything is working here. I'm gonna click, I'm gonna go back in. Again, I've had this happen before, and I don't remember what we did.
Wait, is it in system setup?
No.
It's in the main screen.
System setup, disconnect RF, this will refresh it. Flight mode setup, that's all set too, good. Channel sign, that's all set. We did F mode on aux 5, okay. Now let's see if it wakes up. Ah, the smart icon's there. Yep. So let's go up elevator, left aileron. I don't know if it's gonna let us because we haven't plugged in within 5 seconds. I don't think it will. It's not gonna let us in right now because we have to plug in within 5 seconds. Okay, no big deal. I just wanted to make sure we saw the smart stuff. Now it should come up with forward programming. Ah! Where is it? Okay, so throttle cut's on. Now we try again. So guys, this is kind of the name of the game when you do a factory reset. Sometimes you have to go through a couple of woes. This is all brand new for us too. It's the first time we've downloaded an application. So unplug, give it a count to 400. You know what? I'm gonna just give it a count to reset this too. I don't think it's gonna make a difference, but I just wanna be on the safe side. Obviously you wanna be in full command and control of your plane. So turn this back on first. Once it fires, make sure it's booted and make sure that your orange light comes on. Something we don't talk about, throttle cut is on, throttle stick is down, okay? All right, so we've got the plane ready to go. We'll go ahead and plug it in again. Did you see? The prop actually kicked it. There it goes. So it was, you know why it didn't arm? It was rocking itself in startup because the prop is so strong. Okay, so now we're gonna click and scroll down. Where the heck is it? Okay, so we're gonna pause and come back. Okay, so after some research, we are going to try to rebind again. Okay, so we're just gonna put this wing off to the side. We're gonna be prepared to bind. We're gonna press and hold that button for a moment. Ah, we have to do it within so many seconds. So this is now off. This is now on. Now I'm gonna press and hold. Okay, I think it's trying to, I'm gonna go back to system setup, disconnect my RF, and it's disconnected now. So now I'm gonna press and hold this because when it's connected, it doesn't wanna let you interrupt, okay? So I'm gonna try it again. Pressing and holding. Now it's in bind mode.
Yep. Okay.
Wow, that was crazy, guys. We're gonna just like leave this apart for a moment.
Okay.
Make sure that our forward programming comes up. If it doesn't connect, well, we're in auto configure right now. Okay. Once it wakes up. Okay, so we got movement. Now we're gonna click. We're gonna scroll down. Oh, come on, stop doing that scrolly wheel. Forward programming, there it is. Wow, that was ridiculous, folks. Okay, so real quick, just to be totally fair to this plane, we almost never factory reset because we almost never have to do this. I think the last time we did it was adding flaperons to the slow ultra stick.
Yes.
It's been that long ago. And then I think we also did it to the Crescendo Evo. No, I don't think we had to.
I don't think we had to factory reset that one though.
So just to be clear, there's also a few models like Ultra Micros that you could hold sticks in certain configurations and reboot, and then it will like turn on the flaperons. I don't think you're gonna be able to do that on this particular plane.
Right.
You'll have to go through the process. But yeah, maybe that's the only reason why you might consider leaving your bind extension cord in there just until such a time as you're done, and then yank that sucker out, because it'll make a pain to load this battery.
So if you factory reset and your forward programming goes away, then rebind the receiver.
But you may not have to do that. It sounds like it's sort of like, you know, might happen, might not.
Yep.
Because I did not have to rebind to gain control of my plane, but I did have to get access to the forward programming, okay? So again, if you're setting up flaperons and you're not using AS3X and safe, you don't need to redo any of that crap.
Right.
Okay? You can just turn it off. We showed you how to do the offsetting, okay? So now, quick, throttle cut is on, throttle cut is off. Throttle cut's on and tested. Okay, so now I can trust this plane again. Whew, okay, all right, getting back to where we started. Now, let's double check our surfaces are still the same. Elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, takeoff flaps, landing flaps, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, everything is working. Let's go back into forward programming, connecting. Gyro settings, other settings. Gyro settings, first time setup. Next, make sure everything's set. Put a level, hit continue. It is pretty level. Set it on its nose, hit continue. This is where it learns its position in the time and space. Orientation 5. Sounds about right to me. Now this may reboot. Oh, no, it didn't reboot, okay? So we're good. Gain channel select. I'm gonna use this, the right, or the rotary knob, which I don't know.
We'll have to set it, right?
Yeah, I don't think I actually set it, did I? So what the heck? I guess we already know aux 5 is used for flight mode. And I just want to use a non-pluggable channel, right? So let's, aux 7 had something attached to it in the bind and fly, so I'm just going to go to aux 8, okay? And you see how it says aux 3? Now the input is aux 3, and then I want the input to actually be the rotary knob, okay? And this is the gain, and then hit apply. Once it reboots, you can tell it's kind of reconnecting here. The receiver is rebooting. One dance. We have AS3X dance. Fantastic. Click. That takes you back into the menu. Okay. So elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Okay, cool. Gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains. Look, flight mode 1. Oh, it's not changing. Why? Because we never set the flight mode. So the F mode setup, we have to go to F mode channel, and then we know this is aux 5 is what we happen to pick. You might be able to exercise the switch, but sometimes it picks the wrong thing, okay? So you have to go to the one that's actually correct and hit next. Now look, it's in 3, 2, 1, okay? So FM channel. This is now reversed. So just for the sake of simplicity and clarity, I am going to go back to servo setup, travel, subtrim reverse, and I'm going to reverse aux 5 because I don't want that to be reversed, okay? That will keep flight mode 1, 2, and 3 where they should be in forward programming, okay? Gyro settings, AS3X settings, AS3X gains. Look, 1, 2, 3. Remember, we're going to turn this off for the middle setting, okay? Capture gyro gains, fixed adjustable. So you could do adjustable, you could do adjustable, you could do adjustable. Okay, good. Now watch this. I'm going to do first time safe setup so I can skip a couple of steps in that. FM channel's already been set for the flight mode. Okay, so we're good there. Then I'm going to hit continue. Flight mode 1, flight mode 2, flight mode 3. That's where we're desiring to set up safe. You can just skip past these. Now, I need to make sure this is actually level. It's pretty close, but let's just make sure it's left, right is good. Okay, I always give it 2 chances. And then you can make your fine-tune adjustments if necessary, okay? So it's at 0, okay? Not unexpectedly.
AS3X mode.
Okay. See how it says safe is inhibited? Safe is inhibited. Safe is not going to be inhibited. We're going to do self-level and angle demand. And I'm going to give myself pretty substantial angles up and down on this because I just want to have a lot of room to be able to negotiate a plane. Whoops. You can leave that at 60 and all the defaults, but it's just going to limit your pitch angles more dramatically. And so I don't really see that that's of great value. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Now you're going to see 2 dances. There's 1. There's 2. That means that safe select is activated, but it's not necessarily, or safe is activated, but it's not necessarily on. It happens to be on right here because we have that switch configured. So look, you can see now when I pull that stick down and out, when it's off, you have a little bit more movement. You have a little bit less movement, a little bit more, okay? So now I'm going to click to reload into forward programming, gyro setting, aux output settings, aux output wizard. Oh, we don't need that. Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. I'm sorry, I got all excited about it.
Okay.
Other settings. Okay, so we should be good here. That's where you could do if you made a huge mistake and you want to start from scratch. Gyro settings means you have to take your wing off again. So system setup. This is where you can do. Is this under utilities? Yeah. This is where you can test your gyro. Again, we talk about this almost every time. I'm not crazy about it because it's not an actual flight mode. Like you're not seeing it in its real behavior. But guess what? You can still see it's definitely working. It's definitely working. The elevator and rudder are definitely working. Because all you have to do now is just move it and you'll know which direction of the correction. Not the amplitude, but the direction. Oh yeah, working, 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 working. Now, can I do flaps? Yes, I can. Working, 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 working. Okay, out of the flaps, everything is working. So now I can go out of the gyro response test. This tells you the direction, not the amount, okay? Because this is exaggerated to the extreme. Click, goes right back to normal. Everything is working as usual, okay? So now we can hit back. We can go back to AS3X. Oh, and by the way, did you see that under system setup? Relearn servo settings. If you had to make one change, you would make the change, you'd come back and relearn your servo settings, okay? It's like if you put it a reverse servo here instead of a straight servo and you had to flip the direction of travel on that, then your AS3X would work backward on this wing, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why would you do that, first of all? But if you did, then you would go in and relearn after you made your changes to make the sticks work right, okay? All right, so now AS3X settings. Now let's get the gains figured out. This is gonna be a little tricky because I have to now replicate our old settings, okay? Normally we'd make these adjustable, but I'm gonna go ahead and set them to what the factory default was. There's 46. They had 35. And then yaw is 24. Okay. So now in flight mode 2, I'm gonna turn this off. So how do I do that? I'm trying to remember how I do that. I know we could just turn it down to nothing. Isn't there another way I do it? I thought that was usually in the safe mode. Oh, look, it's right here. See?
AS3X mode.
On,
Off.
off.
Yep.
Safe mode.
Okay, pretty cool, huh? Now watch this. Ha 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 ha!
Off. AS3X.
You could have it on in just AS3X.
Oh.
I don't know if I knew that. I don't know if I'm sure I'm comfortable with that. Let's turn it on and see what happens. Maybe it'll blow the plane up, maybe it won't. Hand launch assist, no, we'll just do it in the stabilized modes, okay?
Okay.
So now also you'll notice that in this mode, with self-level and angle demand, that's auto leveling and limited bank angles, you can turn on a panic too, and then you can assign it. It's active, okay? But how do you set panic? What? What?
So we don't usually do that, so it's kind of scary to
Why?
do something different.
Why is it hard? Throttle to pitch, panic channel. Now we've got like 1 million channels. So just use aux 15, who cares? Delay, active. No, I'll make it immediate. And then panic F mode. Don't know if I care. Oh, see, it limits you to an even tighter perspective bank angles, okay? So now watch this. I don't know if it's gonna work right now, but I'll try it. So normal, auto leveling, panic. Okay, so I don't think it works until you make the change, okay? Because it has to write it to, commit it to memory, okay? So we turn that on, let it balance, okay, hit back. Attitude trim. Oh, that's where it is too. Very nice. Okay, so if you need to go back in and learn it, it's an attitude trim. And safe, fail-safe flight mode. Fail-safe angles. So you could change your angles. What are fail-safe angles? Okay, so if fail-safe happens, it means you've lost connection. You could set this to bank and pull back on the elevator, thusly flying in a nice big circle, and also with auto leveling already on. So fail-safe, I believe, goes to safe now, but you can set it to cut into a circle. The only problem with the circle is if you catch into a thermal, it can fly away from you and keep flying away from you until why did you not film me doing this? Until such a time as you crash into the building 400 miles away. Okay? All right, we're not gonna mess with the fail-safe. But it's just, I wanted to make sure I didn't see anything I wanted. Okay, I guess what my point is in doing all this crap is that you guys can realize there's so many settings that we don't normally do that are available, okay? So now in this setting, we wanna set it to the regular standards. So we're gonna set 46 here, and we're gonna set pitch. And you're like, but Brian, that's safe, that's not the same. Of course it's not. Okay, and then yaw, 24. So this is an amplitude that's based on adjustability. So at full scale output, that's what you would get. So it might be a little bit low, or we'll do ×2 or something like that. Now in this, it's gonna be off. And in this, it's gonna be what we set it to. Now we can hit back. Now we can go to priority. Look at that, 140, 140, 140? No, 120, then 120, then 140, then nothing, then the same. That's why we wrote it all down, folks, because I can't remember this crap.
Off. AS3X
Okay.
mode.
And by the way, you notice how I got out of there and it was blank? That's because I didn't let it populate, okay? Then heading, we're not gonna mess with heading hold, stop lock release rate. So flight mode 1, it was, looks like 15, 30, and 20 for the stop lock. That's a lot different. 15, now 30, now 20. Okay, then we'll hit next. And then this is 55, 55, 75. That is the standard settings. So we've now matched this, and this to the bind and fly model, but we unlocked all these other cool features and the gain sensitivity because those settings are defined as there. I kind of think I might need to go to 2x, but I don't know that that's true. Because my gain is, since it's now adjustable, which it wasn't previously in the bind and fly, okay? I'm wondering if I need to set that to 2x so that at my 50% position, I have my standard setting. We'll know when we fly, but I'm gonna set it to 2 because I believe I'm correct. So that means when that's up there, now I'm double factory setting. That would be factory setting, which is where we like to keep our rotary knob parked between models, okay? So if it's like super crazy, then we'll know that we need to kick that back to 1. So fixed adjustable, as you can see, it's already adjustable. There's nothing because it's off, and it's also adjustable. But you could set that to fixed if you wanted to lock it to more of a standard setup, okay?
AS3X mode.
Why is there a next? Okay, I just want to make sure. I was like, why is there a next? Okay, guys, everything makes sense. Now that we're in 2x, we can go ahead and also come out of the menu. We're going to go ahead and check the surfaces one last time because this plane is now set up. It's super simple as that. It's quick as you could charge a battery, right, camera crew? Right?
Right.
Elevator up, elevator down, roll left, roll right. Y'all left, y'all right. Very good. I'm going to throw this pen out of the way so it doesn't fly off of here. Also, we need to check our flaps, takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Now, of course, you could make those go up and make them into spoiler-ons, or you could make like a flapper-on setting and then like a spoiler-on setting. It doesn't really matter. That's all just based in our normal flat mode setup, okay? So now we need to turn the gain all the way up, and we're in AS3X, but we haven't given throttle, so there's no movement. So I'm gonna go ahead and give some throttle. Camera crew, you ready? Mm-hmm. Feel that? Throttle cuts on. Yaw left, yaw right, elevator up, elevator down, up, down, takeoff flaps, up, down, yaw left, yaw right, up, down, okay? Landing flaps, down, up, okay? Yaw left, yaw right, up, down, okay? So everything is working. Obviously it's quite touchy.
That's a lot more correction than it had in the bind and fly.
Well, that's off. That's off. So you're thinking that my assessment to go to 2x is wrong.
I mean, when we tested it the first time, I could not see it from here. I could hear it, but I couldn't see it like at all. And I can definitely.
I had it at 2x.
Okay.
I had it at 2, but you're right. You're right. So if I went to quarter, that would be like, if I go to quarter, then that would be substantially similar to what was default. I think you might be right. I think 1x might be closer to what the factory setting was. But here's the thing I don't understand, okay? So come here. If we're matching the settings that were in the factory setup, okay? Guys, listen, this is just me learning how to do this because I want to teach you guys how to do and how to learn how to do, okay? AS3X, if I put this back to 1x, okay, that means we're limited to whatever. Okay, so now that's at 50% position, roughly. It's a rotary knob. It's not like I get out a measuring tape and measure it. Measure a rotary knob. That seems close to what we were seeing. Because like
I can
you could
hear it,
I think
but I can't see it.
You can't see it? I can see it.
Very
Let me
slightly.
show the people.
It's
So this is
very
a 50% rotary knob. Okay, this is awkward. Correction. Yeah, that seems pretty close to what we had before, doesn't it? But the ailerons are easier to see. Okay.
I think that's closer to what we
guys
had
sick yet?
before.
It is probably closer to factory, so then we can still go up.
You still turn it up.
Okay, here's the catch, guys. This is the age-old question. If your gains were 46, 35, and 24, and they were fixed before, were they fixed at 100% of that, or were they fixed at 50% of that?
It's a question.
That is what
Mr. Gary.
that is what the 1x means. Is 1x means that at full amplitude, you would have that setting, I believe, unless I'm mistaken. I could be mistaken. I was wrong that one time.
Yeah. Well, we won't say how long ago that was.
All right, I was.
Just a few.
Today, when I was talking about how quick this build would be,
Yeah,
it's like it's only a bind of 5.
Yes.
We should be good. We'll be
Right.
quick.
You better hurry up, actually.
E-flite, amazing ElectroStreak. Okay. Okay. I was just thinking of a joke I can't say.
Oh, okay.
So I'll save it for the next one. Okay, so looks pretty sweet. I'm actually super excited for this. I'm a sucker for sailplanes, and I've been told from Ian that a well-adjusted sailplane doesn't even need an elevator.
It's not a sailplane.
Oh, that's true. It is a fast plane. And
I think you're gonna need an elevator.
Okay, so let's show them the plant. Throttle cuts off. Show them the plant.
Oh,
show them the plant.
I gotta
just turn around.
There we
Thank you. Okay, so yeah, that's got some juice going to it. Okay, throttle cuts on. Now, some of you are probably wondering, is there thrust reverse? Okay. The answer to that question is probably, okay? Throttle cut's currently on, okay? I'm gonna just open this up. I'll show you if you can get into the menu, okay? This is an avian light. You're not supposed to be able to, supposedly. Whatever that means. Okay, wait for it to connect. Up elevator, left aileron. To switch.
Not yet. There it goes.
Okay. Guys, welcome to the jungle for thrust reverse.
It's a belly lander.
I know it. It doesn't have a folding prop.
It doesn't.
Here on Brian Phillips RC, we teach you what not to do. Fixed wing, brake type, normal. Whoops. Oh, you got to use a stick. Duh. Oh yeah! Brake force, 7. How high can you go? Oh jeez, they have it on the most. Okay, so this is where you can set your low voltage cutoffs and stuff like that. Yeah, just 6 volts on the BEC, just juicing everything up. If you needed to rotate the direction of travel, you could do it there. I wonder if that's the setting that you would set if you wanted to be able to have the battery unplugged for longer, or plugged in and then go into the menu for longer. Restart Excel, 1.2 seconds. I've never heard of that. Ooh, thrust reverse channel, 7. What do we have? We have 7, but they had 7. They had 7 like
On something. We
I don't
inhibited it.
Oh, dang it. I gotta scroll all the way over. There you go. We're still in there. So auxiliary, let's see what we got. Channel 7 through 9 probably, right? Mm-hmm. Did we use 8 for the rotary knob?
I think so.
We used 10 for something.
We use 10 for flight mode.
Okay, so 5, that's 6. There's 7. There's 8. Just for safety's sake, because it's a bind and fly, it's a little different. I'm gonna go ahead and go with channel 9, okay? So exit with save. Okay, throttle cut is on. Obviously you wanna not trust the plane until such a time as you can trust it, okay? I'm gonna scroll back over to my monitor, and channel 9 is of course 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so aux 4. Throttle cuts on, nothing's attached, nothing's attached, nothing's attached. That's attached to something else, attached to nothing, attached to something else, and then attached to nothing, okay? So we can go ahead and make an assignment. We'll just run down here to system setup, disconnect RF, watch the orange light goes off, means you're disconnected. Then we're gonna go down to channel, assign. We're gonna pick a channel, in this case, channel 9. It's inhibited now, which is nice. So I'm gonna go to switch G. G! Okay, now, what we're gonna do is we are going to put the plane in such a way that it's just, I'm trying to do this so that I don't get caught or have it fly off the counter. Okay?
Right.
So right here. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into digital switch setup. How about that? Digital switch setup, select, switch G. Okay, so forward thrust is minus 100. So you gotta scroll all the way through the range. Okay, and you're probably thinking, why don't you just reverse the switch? Because then you have the ambiguity still, you gotta do this anyway. So then reverse thrust is gonna be plus 100. How do we know this? Because we've done it a million times. We don't have to guess and check on this because we just happen to have done it a million times, okay? And you see it says channel 4 down here too, aux 4 rather. Okay, so now, what that means is that when I'm in this switch, it's gonna be forward thrust. So throttle cut is currently on, securing the planes, throttle cut is off. Forward thrust, oh yeah, that's forward thrust. That's reverse thrust. That sounds feverish. It's super obnoxious, throttle cuts on. Okay, so throttle cuts off, reverse thrust, still reverse thrust, and forward thrust, throttle cuts on. Okay, so that's how you do it. Now it's set. Like I said, we do not do the mix for pilot fatigue on thrust reverse because I don't want somebody to get hurt on a prop. So what have we done in this Unbox build radio setup? Literally everything. We've set up the model, sort of using their new, like, amazing, perfect system that definitely got us super far and we didn't have to redo everything. Maybe we did do that though. Then we went through and plugged in, instead of a Y cable, on channel 2 for the ailerons, which you can totally do and skip like 3/4 of this video and lots of screwing and unscrewing, okay? Or you can just do it like we did and just go straight to factory reset if you want. You should bind a virgin file if you want and then go through factory reset. Then you'll end up with the backdoored receiver. You can set everything up just like a plug and fly, okay? Now, it would be really nice if this model came with flaperons set up, if you're listening, E-flite.
And maybe in the manual.
Because why is it not?
Maybe in the manual they'll have it there.
Because you know that like 100 out of 101 people are gonna set it up. So maybe next time we could do that. That'd be great, thanks. I'm sure that there's people at Horizon that were saying that in the board meetings and they were ignored. Maybe they should listen to that guy. Just saying. All right, beautiful, awesome plane. I don't mind a good setup video because we do it all the time here. And I gotta say, I cannot believe how stout this foam is. I'm gonna tell you one thing though. More stiff, hard, solid foam like this, I don't know how it's gonna resist breakage because it feels reinforced like crazy, guys. Look at this, we got carbon fiber in surfaces, we got carbon fiber, we got carbon fiber. We've got like, I mean, even the wingtip is strong, guys. My fear is somebody is gonna bring it in, try to catch it, and it's gonna go, a million pieces. And then there's gonna be lots of tears, sadness. And I don't want that to be you, okay? So here on Brian Phillips RC, we wanna give you a word of encouragement. We love airplanes. We love that you guys help us out by buying from the links in the video description below. The best way you can support Brian Phillips RC is buy stuff from the links. We want to perpetuate the hobby in a number of ways. Namely, we would love to be in the middle of it because we love RC, okay? But we want to perpetuate it for a lot of reasons. The more popular this hobby is, the cheaper everything gets. The more popular this hobby is, the more legislative authority we can have in a highly litigious and regulated society, which is just ridiculous. They're regulating our toys, for God's sakes. But it's the world we live in, and a bunch of idiots voted for it. Not me, but you did. One of you. The guy that's using ailerons, not flaperons. I'm just kidding. Not you. You can still watch. But this plane is amazing. I'm excited. I cannot wait to fly it. We've had terrible weather. We're probably going to be flying it in pretty terrible weather even still. But at the end of the day, you know, we try to bring a little bit of value, and we want to help expand this hobby to as many people as possible. So here on this channel, one of our biggest things is we keep saying stupid phrases like out of the chair and into the air, because we know how easy it is to just stay in that chair. You know, you're just sitting there, you're just watching YouTube, and you're like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. But you know what? Let's click on the next video, right? I'm not saying you can't watch videos. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But I am saying at some point, you need to act on this desire to fly RC, okay? It doesn't happen through osmosis. It's a hard skill. It's hard fought. It's kind of expensive to get into it. But once you're there, it's not so bad. It is manageable. You can fly on a budget. And a lot of people do it. We used to do it before we did this stuff on a whatever basis we're doing it now. But I can tell you this right now, you can spend a couple $100 a month, you can do this, okay? If you're working for a living, you're making a couple $100 in disposable income, okay? Now, if you're not working for a living, if you're a kid and you're asking mom and dad to do that, it's a harder sell. I get it, okay? Speaking to you kids, remember, when you get big and you get older, work your butt off, save your money, be intelligent, and then eventually you'll be able to do all this stuff on your own and not beg mom and dad for it every time. But I am gonna tell you this.
Battery.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. We appreciate you being here with us. We wanna encourage you in your efforts to get into the hobby. We wanna encourage you to come back to the hobby because there is so much more to offer now than there was just even 9, 10 years ago when we started this, okay? And we're here to help you get out of the chair and into the air. We're not just gonna throw it at you and expect you to know everything. That's why we go through this tedious process. Not because we're trying to talk anybody out of it. We wanna talk you into it. And yes, that means sometimes we stumble through the solution, but we do find it. And if we don't find it, we come up with it and we come back to the table and we show it, okay? So that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. If you wanna help, smash the like button. If you wanna help, buy the planes from the links in the video description below. And other ways you can support us. If you don't want to do those things, maybe this isn't for you, we have bprc.me or brianphillipsrc.com. If you prefer, same thing, just one's a short link, one's long. Go over there, you can check out other videos that might be something that wets your whistle, and then you can buy from there and you'll help support us. Or you can just use Patreon to be a monthly supporter. You can do YouTube to be a monthly supporter. Thanks if you're one of our monthly supporters. And then we have YouTube Super Thanks. If you want to throw us $1 or $2 or 50 or 100 or 1,000 or whatever it is that you've got burning a hole in your pocket, take the 1,000 and buy a plane for God's sake. But if you want to send it to us, that's also fine. And then we have PayPal if you're into that sort of thing. But we're not asking you for donations. We're asking you to support a hobby you love, and we do try to reciprocate as much as possible. And if you had any clue what was going on in our personal financial world, you would understand that we're spending way, 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 way more than we're making trying to make this aerodrome. And it's amazing, and it's super fun, and it's exciting, and we hope you guys enjoy watching. But at the same time, we want you guys to understand, I made a good living before this. My wife made a good living for a while, and then she stayed home with her kids, still makes a very important impact in our world, and obviously filming. But we had what we had, and then the YouTube was pretty much, it's all going to it, okay? This is all getting respent, believe me. At the beginning it wasn't. Now we're catching up and then going past slightly. Right, camera crew?
Slightly?
Slightly.
Slightly. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so when you support us, you're supporting people that are real aviation nuts and not just people that like to drop things on tables and have fancy backgrounds and stuff. We have airplanes crashing our tree. It's like almost February.
And don't tell me it's February. I don't even
It's
care.
almost February.
There's nowhere for the tree to go. It'll be there in July.
That's right. So we don't just do that for show. That's our real life because we love this hobby just that much. So hopefully we answered all your questions. If we didn't, leave them in the comments below. We'll do our best to help you. Thanks to our YouTube members and Patreon members. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your longtime support. Thanks for buying stuff from the links. Come back for more.